So, hi everyone, and welcome. It's Norbert from the MindSpark team, and it is with great pleasure today to co-host this webinar episode with Stuart, our very own senior social anthropologist. Hi, Stuart.
Hello there. Nice to be here.
So glad to be here with you today. Before we start, and as a side note for those of you who haven't joined us for our previous webinars, essentially what we do is MindSpark has put together this remote research toolbox series to help other brands and agencies be exposed to the various platforms that can be used for conducting on remote research. Up until now, I think we've done about 6 of these, and you can find them all in the same place where you sign up for this very recording and watch them for free and on demand whenever you want. So without further ado, let's dive into today's platform, which is Dscout, which Stuart is also familiar with. So let's start with an introduction of what Dscout is exactly. And Stuart, I pass the mic over to you.
Okay, thank you for that, Norbert. So Dscout, in a nutshell, is a research tool that allows us to capture our thoughts, reactions, and behaviors in moments as they happen, our respondents, that is. So researchers can gather qualitative feedback in the form of rich video, voices, images, and text, and then analyze that within a quantifiable framework. We can discover how people experience products, services, and everyday life in the same moment as they do. So it's a very handy tool for capturing immersive, in-the-moment experiences, depending on the kind of research project you have and the missions that you put forward. When I use it with a client for a large social media company, and basically it exists in 2 ways. There's the researcher side and the respondent side. The respondents are called scouts, and they sign up to the app to various missions set by the researchers. And if they qualify according to the screener, they can earn money from that mission. And
cool.
So it's a very handy in-the-moment research tool, which has a very quite flexible tools and features available. And from that qualitative data, we can then, through the outputs, we can analyze that quantitatively.
Right, so it's kind of like a game and an adventure. I'm a scout and I have missions to complete, right?
Exactly, yeah. You can set daily missions or weekly missions, and then once you complete those, you can earn some money. And the great thing about that is when you sign up, you have a pool already waiting for you that you can then choose. So you don't need to bring your own sample. The sample is already signed up through the kind of gamification of this app, and everything's ready to go for you.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So yeah, we kind of covered some of it, but if you can just give us a drill down of how the platform works.
Absolutely. So when the researcher signs up, they will generally get help from the support side of Dscout to produce their screener, to set their various missions depending on the research project they have in mind. That could be over the course of 1 week or several weeks. It can be a kind of longitudinal diary study. And once that's all set up, you make your sample with the help of the support from Dscout. And what's great about this is that some of the research participants, the scouts as they call them, they can provide you with a short video to kind of about them, about what their likes and dislikes, so you can really get an idea of how responsive they are, and you can select and you get a very good picture of the kind of people that are in your sample that are working your project. Once you decide on your screener, you set your mission. It gets it takes off automatically, and every day you get the insights pouring in, which you can then look at and you can probe and you can ask questions within the app. And then once that's finished, the mission is complete. You get the insights, which you can then edit. You can edit videos. You can produce quantifiable visualizations, and so there's a variety of ways to work with it. It's very nice, very useful, intuitive app.
So the platform itself offers a bunch of ways to use the data, right? Is that what
exactly? That's right. Yeah, there's many different features to use. You can there's video editing processes to make that a nice seamless video reel for any stakeholders. You can integrate that with Slack to share that internally. Any of the insights. There's various ways of customizing that depending on your needs.
Right. I feel like this is a great segue into the strengths of this platform.
Absolutely, yeah. So as I mentioned, one of the main strengths is it's a flexible tool built for more than just diary studies. Diary studies are, of course, the mainstay of the platform, but you can use this for agile research, product development. You can use it for shop alongs, for example, and of course, it also has built-in video conferencing tools, so you can have interviews through the app, as well as the kind of longitudinal diary studies which it's built for.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And I would say one of my favorite strengths of this is it's the immersive data you can collect at just the right time and review on your own time. So of course, everyone's got their phone. The app is within the phone. If you were wanting to find out, for example, the project we did was what do people share on a daily basis, online and offline. And you can set them missions, for example, to collect short videos for them to upload things, for example, of what they shared that day, to take pictures. So it's just the right time, immersive data. That's one of the hallmarks of qualitative research. And it allows people to capture that as they're, for example, if they're product testing, they can record their screen as they flick through an app or a website. They can record things just the right time. So it's very immersive and very rich data that it collects. And another strength, as I mentioned, recruiting from participants already signed up to the app. So we don't need to bring our own sample along with us. Recruits, or scouts as they're called, sign up to the app. You have a selection of over 100,000 people, and from that sample, depending on what you're screening for, what your recruitment specs are, you can then choose the right recruits for your study. And you can usually ask them to submit a video about their about them, about their life, their situation, to try and really get the right individuals for the study. And that can be quite fast. The turnaround for that can be 3-4 days. So that's another very helpful strength for this app to really get going on your research very fast and very nimbly.
But it's not a must to use this pool of scouts that they have, so to say, right? So you can also bring your own sample if you want.
Absolutely, yeah. You can bring along your own sample, and then you can integrate that into the app as well if you have that as a requirement.
Mm-hmm. Great.
And another strength, I would say, tagging and filtering for easier analysis. So you can tag and filter people, your recruits, your scouts, according to a number of different demographics. For example, gender, of course, age, household composition, for example, household income, job situation. The number of filters and tags are enormously helpful for analyzing it at a later date.
Right.
As I mentioned,
the visuals, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The visuals, yeah. We can edit the data quickly into high-impact visuals. So once you complete your mission, once your scouts have completed their mission, you can then do word tags, you can word clusters, you can produce very smooth video reels, and you can also kind of transform that into quantifiable data, pivot tables, and charts and so on to really produce those high impact visuals, which are extremely valuable for kind of internal analysis and to see what's next in the research.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that sounds amazing actually. And it feels like a very diverse and versatile platform, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that the flexibility, the diversity of features is a real strength of this platform, and the fact that people can really just take this along with them at any point in their daily lives and record videos or voice messages or photos and upload those, and you get that kind of rolling insights every day. Mm-hmm. And of course, because they've already downloaded it, they're used to the features, so it's quite intuitive. Right,
great. So let's move on to some questions that we've received from clients, from brands. And I feel like some of these we've already talked about, so if you feel like there's not much more to say, then we'll just move on to the next one. What is Dscout best used for? Meaning what kind of studies, what kind of methodologies and such is it most compatible with or best used for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think the main type of study, of course, is diary studies, that kind of longitudinal data that allows us to really get into the daily lives of our participants. But it's as I mentioned, it's a very flexible tool. We can also use our in-house features to record interviews, focus groups, and so on. And there's a diversity of tools available. But I think longitudinal diary studies that really get into the daily lives of our participants are probably its number one strength.
Right. And well, I feel like this next question we've answered multiple times, but I was just going to ask it anyway. What kind of tools does a client have access to build a customized study? Right.
Yeah, a variety of different tools. One tool I never mentioned was along with the different custom specs available and allowing us to choose our own sample, video feedback, and quantifiable results. Another great tool that it has available is transcription services. So for a number of different languages, you can get automatic transcriptions of our participants. And of course, you can do word searches and word clusters from that. And I think the flexibility of the tools really allows this app to be available to a number of different studies, as I mentioned.
And what's it like using the platform from the back end? How, as for example, you as a moderator, is it intuitive? Is it easy to use? Is it easy to probe on participants or?
Yes, very intuitive. So as I said, every day once our scouts complete their missions, their videos, their insights, their photos roll into us, and we can probe those. At any time we can send them individual messages. What do you mean by this? Maybe can you expand upon this? Perhaps some are not have forgotten to upload their mission for that day, so we can send reminders what it is they have to fulfill for the study. It's very seamless and intuitive back-end experience with a lot of different features that allows us to kind of really get into the kind of insights that needed to complete this kind of this typical study that we would do.
Yeah, sounds amazing. So. And I think this has also been answered. How I would put the question this way: how DIY friendly is the platform? Can you do everything yourself, or do you actually need some resources from the outside?
Mm-hmm. You can do everything yourself, but I would recommend using the support available on Dscout. They've got a fantastic support service that really help you put together your screener, your mission, make sure your wording is correct, make sure it's understandable. So it's certainly DIY friendly, but I think one of the strengths of using Dscout is that kind of support that's on hand, real-time support. Obviously, they know the platform more than you; they're the insider, and they know what works well in a research study. So I think that the online support is another of the great strengths of the platform that complements you as a researcher in the kind of any shape or form that you want to take it.
And of course, we at MindSpark are also delighted to help with any study that you might want to do through Dscout.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I'm just gonna jump to the last question here. What is your one favorite thing about Dscout?
My one favorite thing would be, I love the fact that you can probe participants to begin with before you choose. I mean, a lot of researchers will know sometimes you'd like to speak to participants before you start a study and to find out how engaged they are, their responsiveness, and allowing participants to kind of upload videos and so it gives you a real feel for the participants, and then to share those videos as the research progresses with internal stakeholders. So you really get to know the participants yourself. You feel like you know them, which is not really the case typically on a kind of online diary study where you might just be getting anonymous answers, and you really get a feel for the customers and the scouts themselves, and that really helps to kind of sell a project and to get the different stakeholders in a project involved and get their engagement with the project. So I love that additional color and that additional engagement that the platform provides for different stakeholders involved in the project.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think that was it for today. So let's wrap it up there. Thank you, Stuart, for telling us about Dscout. It's been a pleasure to listen to you.
Thank you very much, Norbert. It's been a pleasure being here.
And thanks everyone for joining, and stay tuned for our next webinar.